Hello everyone, it's the end of the year and we thought we'd compile our favorite UFO clips that we featured on this channel for the 2021 year. Forgive the lack of videos recently because I'm under the weather, but we hope to cover a lot more clips in 2022 because it's been a lot of fun. But today, we're going to be looking back at our favorite clips we featured on this channel. So from the staff here at We Love the UFOs, we wish you a happy new year, and without further ado, let's go ahead and begin.
No, it's not. What is it? Kerry, what is that? What is that? Kerry, what is it?
I have no idea.
Holy crap!
Don't move me. Don't move me.
Ladies and gentlemen, compliance with European emergency radio requirements for hand carry liquids. Bear in mind our attracting customers and the following rules apply. Customers traveling from outside the European Union and are non-European airlines are only allowed to carry duty-free liquids concealed in an authorized security container evidence bag. Aside from liquids, all other duty-free products such as solid cosmetics and cigarettes purchased airtime at any age with a longer journey can be taken with. Duty-free liquids may be carried in addition to one piece of cabin baggage that is allowed to customers. All other items must be carried within the hand baggage. Thank you.
What was it?
What is it? Is the question. Can't see it. Where is
Still
it?
there, still there. Cloud.
What the fuck is that? Not for real though. What is that? I'm at the high school? What? Keep zooming in. What the fuck is that? Why is it? I can't even see it. What the fuck? What? Like, where'd it go?
Every 2 years. So I do a Netflix special, a Comedy Central special. I throw all that stuff out. I start all over.
This is
again.
crazy.
Yeah,
We're here in West Fort Washington.
heckler, you mad the heckler, and you shit.
Opened up my door. Look at this shit. Third phase of the moon style. Come on, man.
But really, it's all in
This is
what's
crazy.
in the moment.
Look at that.
So different. You know, that,
Wow.
It's like, do you have a go-to spice for
Oh my
your
god,
food?
it's going away.
Well, it really depends on what you're eating. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, there it is. Oh, there. Where'd it go? It's moving away. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's going fast. It's going fast. Oh my god, I can't get it.
Como un extraterrestre, algo así.
Una bola de candela
En el aire, mira para eso tú.
Mira aquello, mira lo que está mirando. Oye, pero como tiene distinto.
There's a flying saucer.
No strings on it, no ropes on it, like it busted loose from a car.
There's the houses down here.
Photos on mindful.
And we go back up to where the flying saucer is.
You zoom in enough, Dad?
I don't know if I'm getting it or not.
The top is even metallic-y, so like aluminum.
Whoever's flying it, they're flying like something. I think it's somebody.
I hope it's getting it on the camera. I can't even see the screen. Holy shit! What in the hell? This is bizarre.
Look at that. Holy shit, what is that? I am. That's not a plane. That is not an airplane. You see it? That is not a satellite and that is not an airplane. I've never seen anything like that before. God. There's no FAA lights on it.
What's that ship? This alien spaceship, I tell you. Yes, I'm here, sorry, but just
Now, for the first time in its entirety, you are seeing the Mexico City saucer just as we first saw it. We haven't enhanced or manipulated the footage, and we haven't removed anything. Translation is being withheld because of the nature of the language used. Let's just say the shooter and his friend are very excited.
No. It's a weird looking thing. Looks like a stingray type thing.
Dit zijn beelden gemaakt vanuit de hoogbouw aan de Merellaan in Maasluis. Afgelopen vrijdag 2:45. Vastgelegd door bewoner Dick Smits met deze kleine camera.
Ik was hier die boot hier rechts aan het filmen, heel veel bedrijvigheid. En in mijn linker zie ik ineens iets aankomen. En dat was er volgens mij al een tijdje, want ik had het nog niet zo in de gaten. Ik denk, dat is wel interessant, ik ga dat eens even opnemen.
Maar wat is het? Ook broer Rob komt de beelden bekijken.
Maar en ja, op slow motion zag ik volgens mij nog meerdere objecten. En er schoot iets vanaf de tweede kraan van links naar rechts keihard omhoog. Moet ik eigenlijk even aanwijzen.
¿Va para abajo o va para arriba o qué? Vea todo el mundo viéndolo.
a tapar. ¡Es un ovni!
Ay, ¿qué es eso? Y a vuelta y todo.
Video that was taken over Mexico City, wasn't there something?
There is an interesting one for the Mexican military. Don't know much detail about that. I've seen it. There have been a lot of sightings in Mexico and in South America. There was a sighting off the coast of Chile, which I think they found an explanation for. It was apparently a drug plane that was exuding a lot of its fuel, probably because it was trying to disguise its location, or I don't know, change directions or something. It looked very weird when you saw the original video. I think that was explained. The Brazilians have tons of video. I haven't seen much of it. I know that they've collected a great deal of information. They've had some incidents like we did in '52 where the capital of the U.S. was being overflown. They called it the Night of the UFOs, and they had like 23 different UFOs being seen and multiple fighter jets in the air. And, you know, this was going on all over the country, front page news. So there is some other video evidence out there for sure. There's some video that we haven't released that we have that I've seen.
What have you seen?
One of them, I've seen a few of them, and until the Defense Department releases it, I can't say too much about it, even though it's not classified, but they haven't released it yet. But I will.
Took off, booking it.
Break Omaha, pick me a kid, Rafael Peralta, pass ability to launch helo ASAP.
Splashing and bearing range.
Sure. You got 2 minutes, 30 knots.
Keep going, bro.
Let's go down. You're making 10, so we can probably bring that 35 relative.
Windy as fuck outside.
Sir.
Yeah, I'll bring it down.
We got a lot of white water out there, some 6-foot swells.
Whoa, it's getting close.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
What was splashed? Splashed. Mark bearing and range.
Remember from that moment on?
When I regained consciousness, it wasn't real quick. It wasn't real walking right up. It was real slow. It was dim. My consciousness was kind of like in and out for a while. I didn't know where I was. The pain and the feeling that I was mortally wounded. Something was so wrong inside. I felt like I was dying. And this is what really fueled the panic when I finally laid eyes on these creatures. Of course, you know, all of the mental programming that we get from Hollywood that aliens are invading monsters, you know, didn't help. But I instantly associated this feeling of dying with pain with them. So I was combative immediately.
Where were you?
I was lying on my back on a raised table. There was a light above me. It was not real bright. It was not so bright that I couldn't see the outline of the fixture, but
what did the fixture look like?
Kind of like that, only much larger. Just a soft glow, and in the movie there's a little bit of striking on the part of the aliens against me. That didn't happen. I lashed out at them. The one closest to me, I felt really weak. I didn't have enough strength to do much. So when my arm contacted him, he just fell back very unexpectedly easy into the other one. And I rolled off the table in the other direction. And they came around the table, and the three of them were coming towards me. And I just grabbed something from behind me, an object off of the shelf there, and started swinging it at them.
What was the object?
It was just some large, long cylinder or rod, glass, some clear material. I wasn't studying it. I was looking at them and swinging wildly, screaming threats. They stopped. And I was planning on attacking more fully, just making way past them. The only doorway I could see was on the other side of them.
And it looked like a doorway?
Yeah, it looked like a doorway, just,
And what did they look like?
I guess it's a pretty typical description nowadays. Very large eyes, hairless, two eyes, nose, mouth. I didn't see them speak or no change in the expressions. And to me, that in the face of all the screaming and the fear that I was projecting, their lack of reaction probably just added to my panic. But
did they feel like they were a living creature, or did they feel like they were a robot?
Well, they were without expression, I'll say that. But, I've had 45 years to think about that. In more recent years, I think, well, maybe if they're telepathic and it's developed enough to where they don't need to talk, they also don't need facial expression.
Right.
And so their ability to communicate with each other would be much richer and more complete than we have. And speech and frowns or smiles or whatever would become obsolete pretty quick.
Yeah. Here with one of the most famous cases was a case with Commander David Fravor of the Navy, who encountered with one or two other jets off of the Nimitz. They encountered this thing that was shaped like a tic-tac.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know the story.
Everybody knows this, yeah.
This story. It went from, they tracked it going from 80,000 feet above sea level to 50 in less than a second. They have no idea how it moved. There's no visible propulsion system.
Mm-hmm.
It was blocking their radar. It was actively blocking tracking.
This is what their sensors told them.
Exactly.
Just be clear about that.
And then
you're stating information as though it is facts.
I'm stating information as Commander Fravor
I don't care.
related.
That doesn't matter. He's human, and we're all human here. But as a scientist, when you're presenting information, you don't say, this thing was at 80,000 feet and it dropped to zero to sea level in 1 second or whatever it was the measure. That's the wrong way to report it. What you say is, we have sensors that told us this is what happened.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's a very important distinction.
Yes.
And so now, all right, your first question then, tell me about the sensors.
Yeah.
Okay. Are they double checked? Are they, and so, but if you're just going to say there's this craft at 80,000, then everyone is thinking about a craft and no one is thinking about the sensor.
They actually saw it with their eyes too. This is something that they actually got.
You can't see something at 80,000 feet.
No, the actual visual on the craft.
Okay.
They didn't see it at 80,000 feet, but this craft, it's not just something that was tracked with equipment.
Got it. But they didn't see it at 80,000 feet.
Right.
That's my point. So By the way, this level of attention I'm giving to the detail and the reporting of information, we do that with fellow scientists for much less.
Oh, for sure.
Real footage.
Time, Brett Jones enjoys snapping pictures of birds, but recently he was rolling on something a little out of the ordinary.
I just saw this flash in the corner of my vision, and I look over and there's a plane, and then I saw the flash again, and it was kind of near it. I just started trying to capture it.
Jones says he thinks he's seen unidentified flying objects before, but has never been able to get them on camera. Last Friday, just outside his home in Pleasant Garden, he didn't think he captured much, but when he went inside to look at the footage...
I told my wife, I said, I just saw a UFO, and she was like, oh, yeah, again? And so I'm like, yeah, and I'm looking through it, and I saw a little flash. I was looking at the video, so I scroll to it, and I zoom in, and it just was like, I have no idea what that is.
Some people argue it's just a balloon, but Jones says the flashing silver and gold lights make him think otherwise.
Halina! Stäng av för helvete! Stäng av! Halina! Stäng av! För fan, stäng av! Halina!
Tarbaca is near San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica. Just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Marvin Badia, a young carpenter, was working when he heard a strange buzzing that distracted him from his work. To his intense amazement, the young man saw that the source of the noise was about 100 meters away from him.
I was shaping this table here outside. It was very cloudy. I looked up and saw some sort of object. It was very bright. I looked at it carefully and took out my mobile phone. I saw that it was giving me time to film it. So I started to record.
Empiezo a grabar. Empiezo a llamar a mi compañero.
I called my colleague, who was working with the drill, but he didn't hear me. I called him again. I turned towards him, moving the phone, and when I turned back, the object had already gone.
While we were on a transit from the Portland-Seattle area on the surface, I actually saw, I was the port lookout, and I saw the most incredible thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. And it had such a profound effect upon my view of the universe and the world that we live in that I wish everybody could experience this. I saw come up out of the ocean, from beneath the surface of the sea, a huge disc-shaped craft about the size of a Midway-class aircraft carrier, which is tremendous in size. Even though that's one of our smallest carriers, or was then, it's still a huge, tremendously big object. came up out of the ocean and rose into the air and tumbled on its axis and went up into the clouds, and I was awestruck, dumbstruck. And I mean dumbstruck, literally. I could not utter a sound. And my first impulse was to tell the officer of the deck that I'd seen a flying saucer, and then luckily for me I couldn't talk because on second thought that's not what I really wanted to say, because I didn't want to be the only Looney Tunes character on a submarine with a tight-knit crew that you had to live in close quarters with, because that's a hell of a way to live. So I told the officer of the deck that I'd seen something about 15 degrees off the port bow at a relative distance of about 2.5 nautical miles. And he began to look in that area. And the starboard lookout had heard me tell him this, and he began to look over there. And while we were all three watching, either the same craft or another one exactly like it came down out of the clouds, tumbled again on its, why it did this maneuver, I don't know, but every single time it did it. It's like it came down in this attitude, and then it flipped over and then entered the water. And the water just appeared to open up in front of it. It's just like the account in the Bible about the parting of the Red Sea. That's exactly what happened. The sea actually parted, and this thing went into the water, and it closed up behind it. And this big spray went up into the air. But it wasn't a spray from the craft hitting the water. It was a spray from the water coming back in to fill up this hole that had been created. And again, I'm thinking, this is incredible. What are we looking at here? And it was metal. It was a machine, and it wasn't glowing or anything like that. It didn't have any lights on it that we could see. But it was obviously metal, and it was obviously a machine. And although I can't tell you that there was anyone inside of it, I believe that there was. And it did something that, as far as I knew, was absolutely impossible. I'd been in the Air Force. I'd worked on the state-of-the-art of our aviation capabilities, and here I was on the deck of a submarine in the conning tower, and I knew what we had to be able to have to go underwater, and I knew that the two were incompatible. Here's something that came from under the water and flew in the air and performed maneuvers, and then came back down and interfaced with the water at tremendous speed and remained intact, which realistically it never touched the water. The water sort of magically opened up in front of it, but something had to interface with that water. Anything that we had that interfaced with the water in that manner would have been disintegrated. It's like hitting a brick wall. So I was looking at a technology that, as far as our laws of physics and what we knew at that time, didn't exist. This was in 1966. Ensign Ball was as shocked as I was. He called the captain to the bridge. He came up with the chief quartermaster, who brought a camera. And we all stood there and watched this occur over and over again for about 10 minutes. And I still, to this day, don't know if it was the same craft or a whole bunch of different craft going in and out of the water. But it seemed like that there was a hell of a lot of traffic on that freeway right there. And we were watching it as we went by. We never changed course. We never lowered or increased our speed. We made no attempt to communicate or signal. We made no attempt to get closer. And eventually, it just stopped.
And that'll do it for this wrap-up. As always, this is Jesse, and let's hope we find many more great UFO clips in 2022, because we love the UFOs. Till next time.